Hi, it's me, Elna from twinsmommy.com, and for today's video, I want to share the important lessons I learned as a mom blogger. I sort of reflected on my blog here, some of the things that I've learned over the years. I started Twins Mommy in 2016, and I also started new websites, new niche sites, and I also have a freelance service. So I thought I could just sort of bundle up my knowledge and sort of put them here on my blog, and I wanted to share them with you today. The first lesson that I learned was that branding is more important than blogging. With the recent updates with, AI writing tools, ChatGPT, Jasper Chat, there's Tailwind, Ghostwriter, there's Canva, Magic Write, there's so many new AI writing tools that can help bloggers write the content. It's now becoming more apparent that you need a solid brand to get noticed by Google. Since Google is going to get flooded with all this content that's very similar, it's generic, there's really nothing that can stand out. Google did have a, update saying they want first-hand experience, and your brand can help you develop that first-hand experience. So for me, what that entails with a brand is, make sure you have cohesive color scheme when you're designing your brand. Make every pin one main template that showcases your blog theme and brand. Now, I did do that for Twins Mommy in the beginning, but over the years, I have played around with different sort of templates. So as you can see here, my original brand was sort of this style right here, where I had a picture in the back and then I had a white box in front of it. And then I used these fonts as the main fonts for my pins. And so I do have many of them, and these ones are still popular to this day after many, many years. But as you can see, I started playing around with different colors, different fonts, just as a way to grow my audience on Pinterest. They might get used to this same style and they may not save my pins because they've thought, well, I've already saved all these pins, but they can then find another pin that looks different. They might save it, and it just helps grow my profile that way. But definitely in the beginning, have that cohesive template that you use for your pins and that spills onto your brand. I use pink mostly. This is a shade of pink that's different than the shade of pink I use for my other blog. And so I do create opt-in forms that are very similar to the other ones that I have on my blog. I have one main headshot of myself that I use for social media and for my blogs about me page. So I have maybe one or two styles. I have this basic one here that I use for my opt-in forms, and then I have this one for my main author bio kind of stuff. So as long as it shows a little bit of cohesiveness in that way, I do want to show, especially I had this one with my daughter that I'm holding, that I am a mama, that I have twins and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that showed in my brand. The second thing is that social media is still very important. It's becoming more important than, I would say, Google. I've recently made some SEO changes to my blog, which is helping me grow my traffic on Google, but I'm finding I get much more engagement, much more traffic on social. It's very noticeable on a lot of my blogs. So as you can see with Twins Mommy, organic search is still very popular. It's my number one method for gaining traffic, 65%. But the close second is social. It's still up there, more than email, more than referral, more than direct. Right? So it's still in your best interest to get on Instagram, to get on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all those places, YouTube, to get people to come to your blog. But of course, if you're brand new, you don't want to start on all those platforms. My suggestion is Instagram and YouTube, actually. Those two can really grow your presence quickly if you actually do video. The next lesson that I learned is that Pinterest still works. I do have a love-hate relationship with Pinterest. When I started blogging on Twins Mommy, Pinterest was amazing. It was amazing back in 2016, 17, and 18. I was able to get 5,000 page views in my first month on Twins Mommy. This is unheard of nowadays, unless you've been doing this before, unless this is your third blog, unless you know some tactics, right? But for a brand new blogger, I was fairly new writing on Twins Mommy and using Pinterest as a marketing strategy, because I wasn't using Pinterest for my freelancing blog. I was able to get those page views quickly. But Pinterest has changed with all the algorithm updates, with just a lot of new things that are happening online. And so traffic, it has dwindled, but I'm still getting a lot of traffic, especially for my new niche website. So I started this niche site in 2021 and I started SEO right away. And then I got into Pinterest. Well, after 1 year, Pinterest is still my main source of traffic, 74% for this brand new blog. So if you are brand new to blogging, you need to get on Pinterest. I did say YouTube and Instagram. That's for your brand, okay? Those are brand building strategies, but for traffic building strategies, you need to get on Pinterest, because for new blogs, this is where you're going to get a big boost of traffic. All right, so I'm still relying on Pinterest heavily. And then the next lesson that I learned is not to rely on SEO only. For many, many years, I was on this SEO kick. I think many bloggers were on this SEO kick. Get out of Pinterest, get out of social, focus on SEO written blog posts, get the traffic that's long-term from Google. And I did, and I loved it. For many, many years, that's how I got most of my traffic. Twins Mommy gets 65% of traffic. My freelancing blog gets 80% SEO traffic. Smart Mom Ideas gets 20% traffic from Google. So my blogs are turning into more SEO stuff, but I'm realizing that it's not the only way. Because of my new niche site, Pinterest still works. YouTube, I still get people coming to my blog through YouTube. Same thing when I go on Instagram, and now I'm dabbling into TikTok. So there are other avenues, and not to only rely on Google, because, well, there's lots of Google updates lately. All these helpful content update, the affiliate marketing update, all of these updates can damage your blog, and it has for some of my sites, and it's hard to recover. So you can leverage social when that happens. The next lesson is that I've learned this is my own race and not to compare my race to others. This is huge. A lot of new bloggers, they sort of get blindsided by all the cool potential for income when they see other bloggers making money, and then they start comparing themselves. Well, I didn't make that much money. This blogger made $4,000 in their third month of blogging. I only made $200 in my third month of blogging, right? Like, you start comparing yourself, and you have to realize that it is your own race. This is something that I've learned later in my blogging journey. At first I was constantly comparing my blog to other blogs that started around the same time. I was always looking at my live traffic while I blogged. I was in the rat race, and it didn't help my brand grow at all. I was too much in the grass. I wasn't looking as an overview of my strategy, and it just made me burn out. I had to take a break and learn that it was okay not to publish a blog post every week. I was sort of in this mindset, like, I need to publish 2 blog posts a week, 2 blog posts a week, over and over, every week for Twins Mommy. And I can only do that for 6 months. And then I had to stop. I had to take a break and then publish once a week. And now I'm publishing when I can. I'm learning that yes, content does help. Publishing as much as possible does help, but you can still make money. I did a case study in Ready Set Blog for traffic on my niche site, showing that I haven't published a lot of posts on that site, yet I'm still getting income. I'm still growing my traffic. So those are my important lessons that I learned as a mom blogger. Tell me in the comments what lessons you've been learning, what questions you have as a new blogger. I'd love to help you out. And so make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel for more blogging and marketing and YouTube advice for you. All right, there you go.